What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's Q&A. Just looking for my glasses. I put them somewhere. I don't know. We'll find them later. How's everybody been doing? This is strange times we are living in right now. But welcome to my home. This is my apartment. So yeah, California is on a soft shutdown, I guess, right now. So I'm working from home, but it's pretty chill. I moved pretty much my studio back into my apartment for the time being, and then I'll go back to my normal digs as soon as this all blows over. So yeah, how's everybody been doing? Been doing okay. Scotty Dog says, "Nice. Hopefully lag free this time." Yeah, I think so far my stream's holding steady. Looks like my stream health is doing pretty good. I saw that Michael D says that we're having some lag issues. That might be on your end this time actually, because it looks like everything is going good from mine. Um, I think last time it was probably the settings because I had just gotten a new like 4K monitor, so I like wanted to do everything to 4K and then also like size it back down to 1080p or whatever, like just so I can. I don't know. I was trying some new stuff, but I guess it didn't work. But anyway, Michael D says, "Good. Been working on projects for work and a new case study: the boy bands versus Lou Pearlman. Interesting. I don't know what that necessarily entails, so I'm curious for you to send it to me when you're done. I'll take a peek." Scotty Dog says, "So far so good. Stocked up on essentials, lots of beer, etc. before South Africa goes on lockdown on Friday." Interesting. Yeah. So, yeah, it's been kind of weird being in LA and like driving around and not seeing the usual amount of like traffic. There's still like a good amount of people out and driving, but like I'm used to trips like 2 miles away taking a half an hour, and now it's like the normal 10 minutes to get there and back. Like it's very strange. It's very strange. Joel Kennedy says Canada is in lockdown countrywide. Yeah, and I mean like that's for the better. Honestly, like I think that with the way that the this whole situation is spreading, I think that countrywide lockdown is for the best and is the best course of action. I'm glad that California shut down when it did, and I'm actually kind of bummed it didn't do it sooner. I mean, like, it sucks, right? Like, this whole situation sucks, but like, this is the lesser of two evils, right? Um, because this is going to end up saving a lot of lives. Anyway, I'm kind of getting off topic here. All right, Modern Vintage, what's up, dude? How's it going? Oman Tiz says, "So far so good in Puerto Rico." Nice, very cool, man. Carl, what's up, dude? Man, Matthias Ganster says, "Hey boys, this fucking quarantine is starting to get to me. I'm a bit agitated, but I'm trying to hang in there." Dude, I feel it. I feel it, man. It's funny. I was talking with one of my neighbors. Like I rent the studio and there's like three different rooms and like there's a bunch of people renting the different rooms. I was talking with my neighbors the other day and it's like this is particularly weird for me because like I'm a person who can voluntarily spend 8 to 10 to 12 hours inside a small box to just power through working. But the thing that makes it bearable and like good is like I have the option to go out whenever I want to, right? Like I can at any point get up from my chair and go out for a walk. I rarely do, but that that option is always comforting. But now that I actually have to stay indoors, like that like side of me that's like, no, I must rail against authority, like just kind of starts like sparking up. But no, I feel it, dude. So I don't know if you are into any sort of like workouts or anything like that. That's been kind of helping me a little bit, just maintaining a level of physical labor. Um, and it's only like I'm doing it like 3 days a week right now. Mostly just body weight stuff, but like getting that and then being able to sit down with my guitar and just play some stuff also like has been helping my mood out quite considerably. But yeah, so hang in there, dude. You we're all gonna get through this together, man. Zach Manzano says aloha from Hawaii. What's up, Zach? Long time no see, man. How's it going? Uh, let's see. Oh man, Omentuz says still trying to get an interface to get neural DSP. I'm curious, which interface are you looking to get? I know the Focusrite Scarlets are pretty popular, and that's, I mean, I've been using the Focusrite Scarlets for a while. I started with the 6i6 though, but you can go as low as the 4i4 if I remember correctly to have a MIDI in and out. Just in case you wanted to use a MIDI controller with your plugins as well. But anyway, Focusrite Scarlets are usually a pretty solid choice. Um, but yeah, I'm curious which ones you're thinking about getting. Oh yeah, Carl says himself a Solar guitar. That's awesome, dude. That's really cool. I think I saw one of the, I think I saw the picture on your Facebook uh, when you put up. Excuse me. I just had some very hot noodle soup, so my nose is still a little bit runny. Yeah, Modern Vintage says shout out to our neural team for refreshing, extending all trials for 14 days during all of this. No other company is doing this. Free everything for at least 2 weeks. 2 weeks tries. Great company. No, I appreciate that. There's definitely there's been some issues with some people not getting the extensions for some reason, but we're working on fixing that right now. I know that the support is hard at work trying to make sure that everybody gets taken care of. So yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, like it was sort of like a no-brainer. Like we realized that most of our customer base was going to be staying at home. So like we want to make sure that we take care of you guys as best we can with whatever resources we can to, kind of alleviate the situation, which is why we're actually going to be doing another competition. Currently working on. Well, actually, I'm almost finished with the track. I'm almost finished mixing it. But yeah, we're going to do a new track and a new competition, new riff builder competition. I think that's going to drop on Friday. But yeah, so yeah, we just want to make life as easy as possible for you guys. Because we're all kind of in this situation together, so we understand the situation. Yeah, Joel Kennedy says, "Oh, I know. Haha, us Canucks are good to go. Legal weed and tons of whiskey. We're good to go," he says. Very nice. Very nice. Marshall says, "Hello from beautiful NE, Oregon." Very cool. What's up, Marshall? How's it going, dude? Ancient Mariner, good to see you, man. Anthony, what's up? He says, "Doing fine. How are you?" I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Like life has not changed so dramatically for me. Thankfully, I feel very, I mean, extremely grateful to be working for the people I do work for because they are making sure to take care of me and I, will continue taking care of them and taking care of you guys. So like, I feel very grateful to be in the situation that I'm in. It's like it's a little bit of an adjustment. I'm having to mix and work out of my apartment, which isn't a great, mixing environment. But at the same time, it's like, if I complain about that, then what else is like, like, why am I here? Um, Lard Graves says, "Hey, Stephen, hope you're doing well." I'm doing fantastic, dude. Yeah, things are going really well. The productivity channel says, "Massive thanks for extending our trials." Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Absolutely. We're stoked to have you and like I said earlier, we want to make sure that you guys are as taken care of as possible during this. Um, even if we can contribute just a little bit of happiness to your daily routine, whatever that looks like at this point, like, we're gonna try and do that as best we can. So, um, Ancient Mariner says, "Not gonna lie, self quarantine has not affected my regular lifestyle very much." Yeah, I definitely feel that. Modern Vintage asks, "How chill is LA right now? Loving the calm vibe and the kindness from everyone right now. This time is a much needed hard reset for everyone." Agreed. Agreed. It's a very interesting time. So I'm actually originally from Sacramento, California, which is about 6 hours north of Los Angeles. And it's a very friendly town. Like it's the state capital, but it still has this sort of small town-ish vibe. It's a town where people still like visually and will audibly like acknowledge each other a lot. It's like you make eye contact with somebody, you nod, you say smile, like hello, blah blah blah. And then I got down to LA and everybody just ignores one another. Like people walking down the street, like they give me weird looks when I like make eye contact and smile at them. It's very very strange. You know, you notice people like driving too. They tend to not look at whatever's going on. Um, but the last few weeks, month or so, like people have been very very kind. And I'm really enjoying it because I hope that this is sort of a trend that sticks. I don't know if it will. The cynic in me is saying that it probably won't, but for the time being, you know, it's like I go into the grocery store and it's like, you know, the aisles are pretty packed with people, or at least they were like, you know, 2 weeks ago when like everything sort of hit the public view. And you know, it's like I'm going through the aisles like looking for stuff to buy, and you know, people are like, "Oh, excuse me, sorry, no, 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 don't worry about it." Like, you know, being very very polite, very kind, very thoughtful. So it's been very refreshing to see for sure. Um, as hard as things are right now, there is an element to the human, you know, to the human spirit that is shining through in such a positive way that I'm you know, it's sad that this is going on, and it's a terrible situation, but there are small gleams of light breaking through, which I can see, which I really kind of bring hope to me. So, um, anyway, I went off on a tangent again. Yay! Um, yeah, sorry, man. Anthony Best says, "Can we not talk about Corona? I tuned in not to think about that shit." No, I feel it, dude. Let's talk about tones. He says. We'll get to that. I'm still working my way through the chat. So yeah, let's see. Oh, Luis Garcia says, "Hey, Steve. Regards from Chile. What's up, dude? Good to see you, man. I'm glad you got to hang out with us." All right. Kendall James says, "Hey, Steven, hope all is well. Question for you. What are your thoughts on Submission Audio Eurobase? I know you've used it, and I'm debating between that and Jin Bass. So I haven't tried out the Jin Bass myself, but I thoroughly enjoy Eurobase, and when I'm not trying to play the bass myself, which is as often as possible because I'm not much of a bass player. I do end up using the Euro bass quite often. Um, I think it's one of the most comprehensive bass libraries out there at this point, as far as like dynamic feel, realistic quality. I think it's fantastic. Um, as long as you're patient enough to dial in the velocities of the individual hits, you can get some very very realistic qualities out of it. Not only that, but also it's like a um, very malleable tone. Like I find that, like I was kind of surprised, like because honestly, I did the Opeth artist tones video like last month, and I didn't want to learn the guitar parts and the bass parts to do it. So I started experimenting with the MIDI bass and was like very, very surprised that I ended up getting the tones that I could, because I was like, that actually sounds like relatively close. Um, you know, could I have done better had I gotten a Fender Jazz bass? For sure. Yeah. But a lot of what I do is a matter of like not necessarily trying to recreate it one to one. It's more about how to utilize the tools at hand to try and get the tone that's in your head, right? So like the tool at hand or the tool in my hands at this moment is the Euro bass. And what are things that I can do with the Euro bass to try and achieve the tones that I want to hear, right? Like so that's sort of the idea behind it, more so than hey, I'm going to get the exact same equipment and recreate the artist tones, you know, piece per piece. Um, so yeah, so I really like the Eurobase. I love that it's a very, very malleable, very flexible bass library. I think it's fantastic. So I would definitely recommend it. If there's, I don't know if he has a demo version or not. That's actually, you know what? I'm gonna look this up because I want to know this for myself because I want to try out the Jin bass. Submission audio, Eurobase 2. Because I'm curious if you can demo it before you buy it. Um, hmm. Is there a demo trial version? We are unable to offer. Oh, okay, yeah. Unfortunately, there's not a demo or a trial version. But I mean, like, I can definitely endorse it myself personally. I think that it's pretty solid. Anyway, all right. So back to the chat. I missed some questions. All right. Oh, Mr. Kiemi, what's up, dude? How's it going? Jorge Estrella says, "Where are you? Blink twice if you're being held against your will." I am not. This is actually my apartment, so that's like what I'm looking at right now. This is like my entertainment area, right? So like I've now just transformed it into my studio space. Um, the camera is integrated into my laptop. Otherwise, I would pick it up and turn it around and show you. But you'll see it in a video coming up very soon. I'm sure Friday. So, um, but yeah, I need to do something with this wall back here. This is very bland. I'm not super stoked on it. Let's see. Okay, Almantiz says he's looking to get the Scarlet Solo. I think that one is pretty okay. Um, if not the Scarlet Solo, the 2i2 I think is also pretty good. Um, so it depends on also what your monitoring systems are going to be. So if you have two outputs for, like a pair of JBLs or something like that, that would probably be a good case to go with. Yeah, Vlad Andre says Athlean X did a great video on home workout routine. I actually am doing that workout routine right now because I can't get to the gym. They're all closed. But yeah, I can say that one is really good so far. All right, let's start working our way down the chat. Anthony Best says, I'm about to pull the trigger on the Abasi and NTS. Will complete my collection of all the guitar plugins. Investment for when the Quad Cortex shows up. Damn straight, dude. I'm actually really excited for the implementation into the Quad Cortex because because everybody has been asking, like, I mean, like it's a very popular question where how do I get my how do I use specific elements from each plugin together, like using the hex drive with the Pliny second head to the, I don't know, Omega Ampworks Granifiers impulse responses to back to the Nolly's delay and reverb. Like those are all going to be individual blocks that you'll be able to move around and interchange. Like so those are going to be, yeah, so it'll be super flexible in the Quad Cortex. So I'm actually really looking forward to those. Matthias says, last night the worst happened to me. When I went to bed, suddenly an idea for a whole song came to my mind. With all the whistles and bells today, when I went to record it, it was all gone. Couldn't remember shit. Dude, I know that feeling, man. I know that feeling. I can empathize. The best thing that you can do that I've found is just take your phone, like even a video or audio recording, and just sing it to your phone and try and like get the idea out as best you can, so that way you can remember it a little bit better next morning. Lardgrave says, I have a question before I have to leave to finish this mix I'm working on. It's a question regarding the Quad Cortex sales. I live in Turkey and I wondered if the Quad Cortex will be available in my country. Not many stuff do. I'll have to get back to you on that, Lardgraves. I have a list somewhere. Let me see if I can't pull it up in the next 30 seconds. And I can answer it because I don't know if I have a definitive list of distribution countries that are distributing the Quad Cortex. But let me quickly related inquiries. Okay, yeah. And you said you're from Turkey. Okay. Cage bands. You may have to go. You may have to just buy direct or from reverb.com. Yeah. Probably. Okay, so I don't know if we'll have yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. 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 So you're gonna want to go to neuraldsp.com or reverb.com when it's available. Don't know why my phone decided to start. Shush. Shush. It was listening to me. Oh, I know what it was. It's supposed to say "Okay, Google," and then it turns on, so it started listening to me because it thought I said that. Anyway, go to neuraldsp.com or check out the reverb.com, our page on reverb.com once it's available. And we do offer a 30-day no questions asked return policy. So yeah, so there you go. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Hickapika asks, is Archetype Nolly the best all-around plugin for metal, rock, pop, etc.? Thanks, you guys rock. Yes. I would say it's definitely super it's super versatile. It's one of the most versatile that we have as far as the amount of tones that you can get out of it. I wouldn't discount the Pliny because that one is also super versatile. But again, we have the trials there, so that way you can check them out for yourselves, and so you'd have 2 weeks to play around with them. So I do think that the Nolly is one of the most versatile. Not to mention the amount of effects that are in the Nolly also make it super versatile to kind of like get a lot of different tones. I've actually been really enjoying like you guys have seen me do in a couple of videos where I will have like my amp, and then afterwards I'll use I'll go with like the Omega Ampworks Grandifier, and then afterwards I'll use the effects section from the Archetype Pliny. What I've been doing recently is actually setting up the Archetype Nolly. I'll turn off everything except for the first pedals and the effects section. I'll use the pre-delay and the post-delay to kind of get like a syncopated delay mix, and then use the reverb after that, of course, which has been getting like this really cool, like trippy psychedelic sort of delay vibe to it. You got to be careful with your mix knobs though, because it will get like out of hand because you're doing like, I usually do like dotted quarter notes or maybe like quarter note triplets, and then like just regular quarter notes. So like it gets this sort of like syncopated weird sort of vibe. I've been really enjoying doing that with the Nolly. So if you had the Nolly, you could set up your Archetype Nolly and then pull up another instance below that, and then do like that same sort of thing. Williams Aaron, what's up, dude? How's it going? Okay. Ancient Mariner says, so I've been meaning to ask for a while. I'm having issues with my DI even before hitting the plugins being extremely dark or warm. It's missing some high end that I realized only after listening to the DI from the Opeth tracks you posted. My signal chain is guitar to Focusrite Solo 3rd Gen DAW. Another issue is that the signal clips on the Focusrite even at very low gain settings. Okay. I'm sure a DI box would solve the clipping issue, but I wonder if it would solve the lack of high end. It's hard to figure out remotely, but that could definitely be the case. I think that if the Solo has a pad on it, I think that might help. Basically, what a pad is, it just lowers the input gain by, I think, by 6 decibels. Let me see if I have it on here. No, it doesn't look like there's a pad digitally. Um, but basically, so like when I'm looking at my interface, inputs 1 and 2 have the combo inputs, so they have the 1/4 inch and the XLR inputs. So I could potentially just plug my guitar directly into my interface, and I would still get a pretty good sound with it, right? Um, but if my signal were too hot, and I didn't want to lower my gain like so much, um, basically what I would do is there's a little button that says pad on it, and it may be like in a digital form on the solo. I'm not really sure, but basically you would push the pad in, and that would lower the gain, so that way you wouldn't be clipping as much. It also depends on your pickups as well. Um, Depending on what kind of pickups you're using, because there are definitely some that I don't particularly like because they are so dark and warm. It's very much a stylistic preference, right? Um, so it's going to really depend on the pickups, but definitely look for the pad switch. Look into some inexpensive DI boxes that you can get into, because you can get into a good DI box, like a decent DI box for like $100, I think. I think Radial makes a DI box. It's like active. I think it's an active DI box for $100. So it's not that much to get into a DI box. But the thing is, with these combo inputs on your interfaces, that they're designed so you don't have to get the DI box. Like the DI box is going to be just like a little added bonus. It's going to give you like a little bit more of a cleaner signal. But yeah, so check the pad first. If that clears up the issue, that might be what you were dealing with. Look into your pickups to see if it's the pickups that are actually just darker than they should be. Um, and then, yeah, look into getting a DI box and see if that helps. I mean, like, having a DI box is like one of those things, like, it's always handy to have around. Even in my like makeshift studio in here, like, I wanted to bring my DI box because I'm like, I know it's going to come in handy. Also, because in this apartment, I don't know what the electricity is like. So far, it seems clean enough. I'm still getting like a little bit of noise, but things have been going pretty well so far. So, let's see. Yeah, Williams Aaron also has a really good tip. So try switching the solo from instrument to line and see if that fixes it. Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. Honestly, dude, like a lot of my own personal troubleshooting methods just include like pressing enough buttons, and then eventually it works, and then I'm good to go. Like that's legit. Like, so, okay, cool, cool, cool. Modern Vintage has a good question. Any experience working with Sonarworks? Wondering what you think of it with plugins playing feel wise. I think it's fantastic. All that Sonarworks does is account for the EQ curve of the monitoring source. So in this room here, like, this is not a great environment. Like, there's a reason why I pulled out the pod mic instead of my shotgun mic, because in this room there's a lot of flutter echo, like a lot. Like, it's gotten a little bit better since I put up some bookshelves, and I put up some curtains on the window, but there's still a lot of flutter echo. I don't know if you guys can still hear it or not, but I'm sure that it would have been much worse with my shotgun mics. But back to Sonarworks. What it does is it accounts for the input, it accounts for the EQ curve of the monitoring source. I'll actually pull up Sonarworks so you can kind of see what I'm looking at. So, gotta change my scene. Yep, there we go. Great. Let's actually, I'm gonna show you in my DAW real quick. Okay. So, make active. Okay. So I have this crappy set of Beats headphones. I've had this now for several years. I'm pretty comfortable with the way that they sound. I mainly use them to check low end. And it's just another monitoring system for me to kind of like get perspective on my mixes, right? So like, it's not necessarily that I trust them. It's that like, if I can hear all the elements in here, I know that I'm doing a decent job and it's sort of translating well enough, right? So not endorsing Beats. I don't particularly like them, but that's what I have. I'm thinking that the HD660S by Sennheiser is what I'm looking at next, potentially. But for the time being, this is what I have, and this is the average EQ curve, because what Sonarworks has done is they've taken a bunch of Beats headphones and measured the EQ curve. So what it does is this is the EQ curve of like of what audio is there. So like you're getting this big wide boost on the low end. It dips around the mids and the high mids, and then it's kind of like up in the presence and the high highs. So what this will do is this will account for those peaks and valleys to flatten out the signal, so that way you can hear a better representation of what the music actually is, right? This is not going to sound good, but I'm gonna show you just really quickly what it sounds like just in reference, right? So this is calibrated for my headphones. This is gonna sound like real hot garbage, but we'll see what we'll see what happens. So that's what Sonarworks does. Now, when you actually have like monitors, what you do is you buy the package to get the Sonarworks plus the microphone, or you could use some other microphones to measure your room. But basically, you would take measurements of the audio at, I think it's like 46 different spots in your listening environment, and it'll account for the monitors and the space you are using to mix with, and then correct the monitor's EQ. So like right now you're listening to corrected headphones, which is what I'm kind of double checking my mixes on right now, because I need additional help, I guess, in with this new monitoring mixing environment. But yeah, that's what Sonarworks does. I can wholeheartedly say that it's improved my mixing incredibly, because it's something about being able to accurately hear specific elements of your mix. Not only that, but also like having those things kind of like poke out and you're like, okay, great. Now I can actually hear my low end, and I hear that there's trouble between my kick and my bass. Even like, so like this corrected EQ, it sounds like garbage on these JBLs, but it like raises this mid-range enough so that I can hear exactly what's going on there. So that way, when I turn it off, I'm confident that I've corrected any issues that could be there. So, yeah. Anthony Best says, I have Sonarworks. It can be super drastic. I have found running the mix at 75%. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, think about it like, if you think about it like you're essentially giving yourself an additional set of speakers to work on, right? Like, I don't know if you've seen some of the bigger studios, they have like 3 sets of monitors. That's kind of the reason why, because if your mix translates on all of these different monitors, then your mix will translate to a wider variety of speaker setups, like car stereos, in-ear headphones, over-the-ear headphones, phone speakers, so that's what that is. Ooh, so Ancient Mariner says, thanks, will do. In reference to his DI issues earlier, he says, do you think pickup height has something to do with lack of high end? Should I try messing around with that? Yes, absolutely. I like to get my pickups relatively close to the strings. Obviously, you don't want the strings to be crashing into the pickups. You'll get like this weird quacky kind of sound. But that's definitely something that could be an element to your issue. Like if your pickups are like into the body, like if they're like flush with the body and they're like that far away from your strings, that could definitely be causing a lot of the issues. All right, let's go back to my other scene. Shapow. Um, Matthias Ganster says, so you would push the low end in your mix because of the Beats headphones, or because the Beat headphones are giving you a false image of your mix, which is pushed already. So I wouldn't push my low end. How can I say this? So the low end of my mix is hyped, right? Um, because of these Beats headphones. Like if I'm mixing just in these, then my mix is going to be super low end heavy. So I know. So basically, this is a way for me to know that I'm not cutting too much from the low end as I'm mixing. Because what it'll do is it'll automatically correct for that low end boost. So that way, when I'm listening in my headphones, it'll sound normal. Then I can go back to my uncorrected EQ curve, and it's like, okay, that sounds normal for Beats. So I wouldn't push my low end. It's just a matter of like I'm not overcorrecting in specific areas. Yeah, Simon Dove says, late to the party. I use Sonarworks headphone plugin, and it really helps with mix consistency. Absolutely, 100%. I totally agree with that. It was funny because the first time I corrected my monitors and I turned it on, it was just like somebody had like taken cotton balls off of my ears. Like it was like it was very enlightening, having at least something of a decent mixing environment now to work in. I don't know if you guys know, when I first moved to LA, I basically was living in a lockout, which is just like a practice space. I had like a little triangle foam padding on the wall to soundproof the room. It was garbage. It was a terrible terrible environment to mix in. But it was that, it was what I started on. So like, I can't complain too much, but it was like the Sonarworks really kind of lifted the wool from my ears, so to speak. And it helped me get, like he said, a consistency out of my mixes. Oh, modern vintage. I did not see that question. The like I'll stay in a specific area on the chat so I can read questions, and then I'll scroll down a little bit, and then it hops me to the very bottom of the chat. So I end up missing some stuff. So I apologize. Okay, so Modern Vintage says, I'm going to need a second QC. Do you think the fastest way to get the second unit is Reverb or other retailers or pre-order? Huh. I'm gonna have to check in with you on that. Actually, I'm not 100% sure. Um, yeah, I'll check in with you on that. I don't want to say anything that's incorrect, so I'm gonna double check with the uh, distribution and see what that's looking like. So, I would definitely keep my eyes open. But yeah, first name, last name. What's up, dude? How's it going? Fabrizio Capone says, "Do you have a nice sister?" I do, and no. I mean, she's nice, but no. So stop. um. Oh, Derek O'Hara asks, I think you were finishing a thought talking about it just as I joined, but will the plugin products be included with the Quad Cortex somehow? Yes. Yes. So the plugins will be ported over to the Quad Cortex shortly after release. So you'll have like the individual elements of the plugins available. So you'll have the hex drive and the grind pedal. Gosh, I'm tired. The grind, Nolly's effects, Pliny's effects, like those will all be available as individual modules, so you can use them in your signal chain. Derek O'Hara also asks, and if so, any discounts available to the Quad Cortex for people that pre-ordered and also own 5 of your plugins? Unfortunately, no discounts like that available right now. We're still just doing the pre-orders, but you're getting all of our plugins, all of the plugins that you own in the Quad Cortex. So that's a pretty good deal as it is. Um, Scotty Dog says, "Did you happen to have a chance to check out the cover of The Middle I tagged you on in Facebook regarding the Granifier for lower gain stuff? Granifier is a lot more versatile than one might think." I think I did. I check out most everything that gets popped up in the Facebook group, so I'm pretty sure I saw that. Tag me in it again if I haven't responded to you to it. Let's see. Bytes Son asks, any isolation plugin discounts coming up similar to Black Friday's 30% off, maybe even 2 for 1? I don't know. Best way to find out and to get notified first about any plugin deals like that is to go to the website and sign up for the email list. Like that's always going to be my suggestion is because I'm not normally the first person to know about any plugin deals that are coming up or discounts or anything like that. So definitely get on that. But also we're going to be doing another competition soon, so there's going to be more opportunities to win plugins if you ever want to try that out as well. Um, Felix asks, are you guys maybe thinking about introducing any other types of saturation for the Parallax plugin? It's already beautiful, but would be even cooler to further experiment with different distortions. It's a good question. I don't know personally, but that's something that I'm going to bring up to Doug or Francisco when they come on this stream. Oops, just hit my desk with my chair. That's a good question. Because I think that the Parallax is pretty versatile as it is, but there's definitely some like more vintagey kind of tones that I would love to get with it if possible. So, definitely something I'll have to bring up to the guys. Mal Ibarra says, "Hey chat, I'm a big fan of Polyphia's tone on their New Levels, New Devils album. Which plugin do you guys recommend for that?" Let's see. If it's anything like regular Polyphia tone, like I would say probably the Pliny, maybe the Nolly. But again, check out the trial. Try it out for yourself. See what you can come up with. But I would definitely try those two first. Anthony Best asks, "Is there a target DB for doing DIs or just making sure they don't clip?" Yeah, it's sort of like don't just make sure they don't clip. Um, like the way that I generally do it is I make sure that I usually pick a lot harder than I think I am. Um, and then just make sure that that's like hitting around -6 ish, so like it's not clipping. I can't like forcibly make it clip, and then I just play. At that point, it's usually pretty good, like as far as like the um, signal to noise ratio is pretty good at that point. So make sure it doesn't clip. Target, like it's one of those coincidental sort of things that like the general level is going to be around -6, because that's going to be sort of like close enough in the range, like as far as dynamic range is concerned, because some picks are going to be a little bit above, and some are going to be a little bit below. So usually you want to hit for -6 just so you're not clipping like when you actually hit a little bit harder than normal. But yeah, so like I usually just like I gain it up until it starts clipping and then I back it off. And then once it stops going red, then I go. All right. Let's keep moving through the questions. All right, it just skipped me down to the bottom, so we're just going to start there. Kendall James asks, can I or anyone volunteer as tribute for future Artist Tones videos? I had a few ideas such as Royal Blood and In Flames. So right now for the Artist Tone videos, I'm going to keep that to like roster artists. I'm going to keep that to people that are already on the roster. At least that's where I'm going to shift it towards. Just because I want to start showcasing the talent that we have on the roster, because we got a lot of really amazing people there. In the future, though, I do want to start doing some additional pieces to highlight work that like the users are making. Like right now, like on these streams, like I've been doing some like tone sharing and stuff like that. So like you guys submit your work and then we just stream it live. Which if you guys are interested in doing in the next 10 minutes, no, you know what? It's 10 minutes. We're almost done. So we're going to hold off until next week. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. As far as like showcasing your guys' tones and what you all are working on, let's make that next week. Because we all need something to work on. We all need something to kind of show off and, you know, kind of make our days a little bit better. So why don't we do that? Let's make next week, prepare something to put up on YouTube or Spotify or Instagram or whatever. And then in the link, and then you know, comment it on the link. I'll make a link in the Facebook group, so that way you guys have a place to post it, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I'm gonna work really quickly back up through the chat. Corey Heron says, "So cool! I've never had a chance to see the live stream live. Great videos. Thanks, man. I'm glad you're hanging out with us. Glad you're doing. Glad you're well, and you know, have workable internet so you can join us on this live stream. This is a part of the job that I've actually been really enjoying a lot of recently." Brandon Sills says, "How do I send you a free MP3 gift for being a cool ass dude?" Just email it to steven@neuraldsp.com. I'll check it out when I get it. Okay, Modern Vintage asks, any word if Universal Audio reached out to you guys regarding compatibility for the new Luna? I don't know. That's a developer side things, and I'm not really. There's an amazing amount of partition, like, or separation between departments. So I'm not really sure if Luna is planning on doing that, if they have done it, or if they're, you know, going to do that at all. I'm not really sure. Interesting. So let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead. Okay, this is a good question. So Marshall asks, this is not a general rule, but I almost always use a high-pass filter on guitars when a bass and drums are in the mix. I even use one on the bass to allow the kick drum to have its space. Any thoughts? Yeah, I absolutely do the same thing. If you like, I mean, I can even go through the current. So this track that I played earlier, I don't know if you're still in the comment section or not, but yeah, let's yeah, so Marshall, let's go through some stuff. Now, I typically use Pro Q3 on like all of my mixes, unless I'm doing something like sweetening, tone shaping or something like that. Hang on a second, let me find my OBS scene. All right, so let's unfreeze a couple of things so that way I can show you all what I'm looking at. But yeah, short answer is yeah, I usually use high pass filters on almost everything, even the kicks. I'll use a little bit of high pass filter just to make sure my low end isn't getting too like subby, but just to make sure that everything is kind of like impactful and clean. So let's see, what am I looking at? Let's show the guitars real quick. Okay. So I have guitar 1 and 2 are my rhythm guitars. So this was played on my 8-string Legator. Um, Now I have the Archetype Pliny. I just used one of Simon Grove's presets. I really liked it. Made a couple little adjustments here or there, but otherwise it's all pretty much stock. The second rhythm guitar, I did turn off the impulse response, and then I used the 121 in the Granifier, so that way I could get like that separation between guitars. But still have like a relatively similar tone to work with between the two. Because like the thing that I don't particularly like is switching out impulse responses between two guitars, a left and a right, and then having like the tones be so lopsided that like you end up having to like do a whole lot of EQ and correction to make sure that they're both level again. So I went with the Granifier's impulse response 121, so that way it's similar but not the same. So this is what they sound like. Oh wait, hang on a second. I gotta unfreeze some stuff. Let's go ahead and take this. Just because all my buses are frozen as well. As my mix bus. Okay. Yeah, so Marshall follows up with, thanks for answering my question. I use Reaper's stock EQ to high pass. Yeah, absolutely. I've heard the Reaper's EQ is pretty good. I mean, like I use Pro Q3 because it's super versatile. So like this is one that I have. Let's wait. Let me start real quick. Let me make this inactive so that doesn't turn back on again. So. Okay, so that's probably pretty quiet. I'll try and make my voice as quiet as I can, so that way this is not going to blow your ears out with the volume difference. So. Now, to account for some minor variances between the tones of the left and the right guitar, I just put a limiter here, so that way if anything kind of like hit that ceiling, it would get pushed down a little bit, so that way it evens out a little. Then I went to my EQ to correct for a little bit of low mids, my Sheps. I love my Sheps. My Sheps is awesome. Mainly just doing corrective stuff here and there. Some Pro MB to like level out that low end a little bit. Another Pro MB for the snare to pop through. So this is actually sidechained to my snare. And then another Sheps. And this is where my high pass filter comes in. So it's at the very end of my chain, which you could do at the beginning or the end. It doesn't really make much of a difference, I don't think. But yeah, so this is where my high pass filter comes in, is the Sheps 73. Whoops. My computer's struggling. I think I need to get my behemoth from the studio and move that over here as well. I've been working on my laptop, and I just don't know if that's going to be enough power to, deal with this. Anyway, so yeah. Yeah, the Sheps. The Sheps is the best, dude. Like the Shep 73 and the Omni channel are so good. They're so good. They're among my favorites right now. Especially the EQ is really good in the Shep's Omni channel as well as the de-esser. I do like the saturation from the pre as well, which is really nice. Um, but I love the I don't know, the flavor of the Shep 73 as well is super nice. I'm sure this is probably just a variant, like the Shep's Omni channel is probably just a variance of the Shep 73, but you know, I like them both. Yeah, Marshall says that Omni channel is remarkable and simple. I absolutely agree. All right, so oh, Nicholas Wagner says, was there a decapitator on the guitar bus? No. So the decapitator comes in on my mastering bus. So here is my guitar bus, right? So like I have, okay, so let's start at the bottom real quick. I'll show you what I got. So I got guitar 1, guitar 2, and those are routed to my regular LNR. So this is my guitar like rhythm group, right? It has my limiter, my EQs, like everything I'm using to kind of shape the guitars into the mix. And then I scroll all the way to the top. Those are routed to my main guitar bus. This is for all my very broad strokes, right? Like, so if I'm going to do anything on this, it's going to be like super small dynamic moves, maybe like some small like dip to like the presence area or whatever. So because this is going to affect all of my guitars because everything is routed to the top here. Let's go ahead and get rid of that so I don't get confused later on. Track control. This is for like small volume boosts or dips should I need them. And then this is routed to my instrument bus. This has an instance of Pro Q. This is just a high pass filter just to kind of clear everything up and just make sure that everything is as tight as possible on the low end because I don't want that to be pushing my compressor. And then that gets routed to my mix bus. And then I have decapitator on my mix bus. So this is like my 2 bus. If you want to hear what this sounds like, so this. I wish my stuff would stop. Here, I'm gonna freeze some stuff really quickly, so that way I can get some processing power, so I can show you what this sounds like. Alan Escobar asks, how many channels can you use with Archetype Pliny at the same time in your PC? Which CPU and how much RAM do we need? So this is an i7. Oh man, it's been a while since I've even thought of this. While this is happening, I'm just gonna look it up real quick. PC info, there we go. So my processor is an Intel i7 4710, 2.5 gigahertz, 16 gigabytes of RAM. Yeah, and that's that. Yep, that's it. So i7, 16 gigabytes. That's been pretty good for my laptop. Now I can't run as many things on this as my big computer because my big computer is an 8-core i9 9900K with also 16 gigabytes of RAM, which I need to upgrade that. I want to get up to upwards of like 64 gigs potentially because that's like my behemoth. Like I'm working on 4K footage on that computer as well as using these plugins. So yeah, Scotty Dog says you should use Windows 10 rather. I agree. I'm looking into potentially upgrading this laptop to Windows 10. The problem is that installing all of my programs and my plugins on this computer again for like the 3rd or 4th time sounds like a terrible, terrible thing. But anyway. Duo Q Life asks, how much does an audio interface affect guitar audio quality when recording? Good use of the correct spelling of effect, AFFECT. being the verb instead of the noun. So yeah, very very cool. I see you. I see you, and your good grammar. Anyway, so it really doesn't. It shouldn't really. Like the what you really want to do is you want to look up the specs of the interface you're looking at. So like I know that the input capacity of the Scarlett 18920 that I have currently is more than enough to handle any of the guitars that I have. However, I do still use a DI box. And if you feel that your interface is messing with your sound quality, then you should look up the specs and make sure that you're getting what you paid for, basically. But it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. Yeah, Nicholas Wagner says, "Oh, okay, thanks." In regards to the decapitator on the decapitator question, he says, "Well, on another question, I saw some high pass filters, but no low pass on your guitar amp sims. I always cut about 10K. So I do if I'm working with some more high gain guitar tones." Because that's when you really start to get more build up in the upper area. Like if I really want to be exacting and I really, really want to be like super like precise with my mixing, I might do that. Normally, if I do anything, um, well, here let me show you what my decapitator is doing on my mix bus real quick, and then we'll get back to that question real quick. So so what I'm hearing when I'm using the decapitator, like it's really not like it's such a low setting that it's a very very subtle thing, but what it's doing to my ears is pushing everything out towards the outside. Like it's just enough saturation that it's kind of bringing up the sides rather than the mid, so that way I get a better stereo field. um let's see. All right, cool 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 cool. Okay, yeah, back to the low pass filters on the guitar stuff. But yeah, so like occasionally I will do that with this particular song since the guitars really aren't super high gain. I really wasn't too worried about it, and I didn't hear very many issues coming from that area. So that's like if you noticed, I did make some drastic cuts to a couple of areas with this Pro Q3. So like all of this stuff here. Like I'll solo this stuff out. So like you heard kind of like that fizzy sort of sound, um, which was a little bit of like problem areas up here. And again, this might be my new listening environment. It could be messing with my ears, but like that's what I ended up having to do is just cut some of those problem areas out. Yeah, Nicholas says, cool, thanks, mate. Greetings from Germany and stay healthy. You too, man. You too. Be safe out there. Okay. Okay. Matthias has a good question. What's your opinion on the mixdown technique like Nolly uses where you start putting plugins onto your master bus before applying anything to separate tracks? So what you're talking about is top-down mixing. And it's sort of like it's a different approach to mixing. Like I'm not at a Nolly level of mixing. Like I feel like top down mixing can be really really powerful. It could be really really detrimental to people who are just learning. Like I feel like I'm still learning. If that makes any sense. Like I feel like I am still learning a lot about mixing as I go along. So I would rather take the time to get super familiar with each individual element and how my tools affect each of those elements before being able to be um before like having like the foresight and to make those more sweeping arrangements at first, right? So if that makes sense, like I'm starting from the ground up because I need to be intimately aware and knowledgeable about how my plugins affect each of those things. And I do occasionally make some top-down choices, like, okay, well, all of my guitars are sounding a little bit thin, so maybe I'll just boost around 350 hertz, just to like a half a decibel, right? So small changes like that. Um, but like, as far as like doing fully top-down stuff, like getting my like I have all of my plugins ready to go and generally in the same spot. Like I have like a bunch of plugins on my mix bus that I use like almost every time, right? But like each one is going to be minorly different, and I feel like I would rather make fewer decisions later on. Wait, no, let me backtrack a second. Yeah, I feel like I would just like during the mastering phase just make as few decisions as possible. Um, like generally I will mix with my compressor on. Um, and I have my drums set at a specific level so that way they hit the compressor so I kind of know what that is. So that is a top-down decision, but that's usually the only one that I make when constructing a song or mixing a song. Is making sure that my compressor's on, that I know that that's like hitting my drum, like my drums are hitting it at the right level, and then from there I make everything else like a per mix decision. So yeah, so like long story short, I'm still learning, so I'm taking everything at ground level. When I feel confident enough that in my systems and in my knowledge and foresight of the music, then I can make more top-down decisions. Because when I learned about top-down mixing, I tried it. I copied a whole bunch of presets from other mixers. I tried a whole bunch of things that I saw online. Like I'm subscribed to Nail the Mix, and I bought the Pro every month, and I did a whole bunch of top down mix notes, and like I was like I had all my stuff prepared, but then like I found that it was actually like sort of detrimental to my mixes. Once I stopped doing that, my mixes started to get a little bit better. Um, Now I feel confident that I can make some top-down mix decisions without ruining my mixes. Um, and eventually I'll be able to make more and more of those confidently because I know I will know and have the experience to back up those decisions, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, no. So Matthias says, yeah, right, top down. That's the term I was referring to. Makes total sense what you're saying. Thanks for the insight, bro. Yeah, no problem, no problem. Yeah, Scotty Dog says one great thing I've taken from Nolly's top-down mixing approach is his instrument bus EQ. His reasoning is around keeping the ear calibrated to how bright modern mixes tend to be. That's very, very true. It's very, very true. I mean, I tend to use reference mixes as well as like bus EQ stuff. Like I really love this plugin here. The TG mastering chain. So I do use the onboard EQ on this to kind of shape my mixes a little bit. And this one's actually like really dope. I like this one quite a bit. Also, like the stereo spreader here is really nice as far as like getting your mix to push out to the outsides without causing like weird phasing issues. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Why don't we go ahead and just call this a day? This was actually this was nice. You guys got to see me in my environment, my very bare environment behind me. But you guys will see more on Friday for sure. Yeah, Fight Talk says TG mastering is awesome. So solid and simple. I agree. I totally agree. Yeah, why don't we just go ahead and we'll call that there. I hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy, continuing to make some really great tones, continuing to make some good music. for those of you who are left hanging out today, next week I do want to feature more of your guys' music. So if you guys are working on something, go ahead and post it up on Instagram, whatever. I'm gonna make a post in the Facebook group in a moment, so that way I can just have them locked and loaded, so to show off next week. So, Scotty Dog says, thanks for entertaining us in your entertainment area. No, dude, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So look out for my post, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. Y'all have a great week, and stay safe.